Yo, 647. 647. I'm trying to knock down, and this you're going to feel like I'm blaming you. I'm not blaming you. It'll be our troubleshooting time. We're at 47 minutes today, which is our longest. I think we were at 30 minutes last week. I think.
Yeah, I'm really eating into our time to actually go watch the football game.
Yeah, and KU plays tonight. So
I know, and it was OU 2 weeks ago.
That's right.
Yeah,
man, your squads are Friday night squads, at least at the moment.
They are right now. Yeah, I don't mind it though.
I love it. I don't know if I love action, but I love weekday games. I feel like I have more time to focus on football, where on the weekend, man, it's just so much. It's so much football. It's so much at one time. Plus, I'm working for basically the DV Sport on the side. So that takes away, and that's fine, but that takes away from more football, I guess, at one time. Right? It's more focused on one game, but it's just a lot on the weekends. We're on the weekdays. Like it's one game, or the Thursday game for the NFL or whatever, and it's just easier to watch. Like I was texting you last night, like I watched half the game. I know you didn't get to see very much, but that's why I texted you. Like they're playing a lot of zone on Tua early, and that's all they played. I don't know if they changed that because I stopped watching, but like that was, what I mean? Like you get the focus on football because you're like, oh gosh, am I covering this? Am I doing that? Or I need to go to this game. Oh gosh, right? You're eating. I don't know. I mean, you probably know how it is.
No, I love standalone games because, yes, you can focus in.
Yeah.
Like when Saturdays and Sundays comes and I've got I do it so I watch 4 games at one time. I mean, it's hard. You almost feel like you're not focusing on anything. So standalone games, that's where I feel like, okay, I'm learning something here.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So Facts Lives One Truth Network, two Joes Wannabe Pros with Ox and Mice. You can find us pretty much anywhere. The only thing that I was wondering about for the audience, and I haven't gotten any followers recently because I know everybody loves to care about our action. You started a new profile on Action. Do I have the wrong one here?
I did not start a new profile.
You did not?
No. It is Alex_Mice.
So I'm still
Same
right.
one.
Who is this cool cat? Who's this cool cat? No, Jesse. Jesse got me. I'm going to get him back.
Oh, yes. That's my brother. He told me he followed you.
Hell yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I got it. He's 1-0. He's 1-0 on the year.
Oh, he actually submitted a bet, too.
He did.
Yeah. I love it.
He did.
Well, you'll see. He goes a little crazy. Not with volume, but...
Okay. As we all are. That's why we have a show. Okay, maybe I just looked at the last name, obviously, and I thought you created another one. So I apologize for wondering. But cool.
It's another Mice. I get the confusion now because I was like, what are you talking about? But it's another Mice, so I totally understand what you're saying.
I guess Oxley would be similar, right? That's a last name that sticks out, right?
Yep.
I wanted to match your, if you're watching us on the video portion of it, I wanted to match your tank vibes today. I went with I went with the Marshall B-ball jersey. It's actually a Nike. Oh, well, I guess you can see that. Okay, that's trippy. I guess you can see that it's the Nike one. There's no one that no name on the back. Okay. But it's their new jersey. It's their current one. So I was like, and it was pretty cheap. It was like $50.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah,
and you get to represent Marshall. We both get to come out with the guns out.
Something
I'm
like
taking advantage until it gets cold.
I know, bro. But it's always warm here. I like to say my tan was solid. You definitely can't see it on the video, but I was rocking a good one. But you know how it is, man. If you don't use it, if you don't keep the tan rolling, it's going to go away.
That's right. You're in a sunshine state year round, so that's great.
That's it, sunshine state in it. So anyway, action tags are, I mean, if you want to follow us, it's at the bottom there. Alex is, I guess they'll see it on the right. I'm on the left. I guess that's how they look at it. That's how I see it. Go ahead.
Yeah, and for the people that are listeners, Ox is catcher for baseball.
Yes.
I am Alex_Mice. Probably should say that for the listeners. That's all.
Thank you. That's good because I would not have said that. And this is the Action app, Action Network. I'm a big fan. I think it's pretty easy to use. And the only thing I guess that would be kind of a downside to it is when the live spreads are not current time. Right. So whatever you see on your local app that you use, DraftKings, FanDuel, Hard Rock here in Florida, that's going to be quite different because it's a little bit of lag. But nonetheless, in terms of following and ROI percentage, right, a lot of statistics and analytics. What's your best sport? What's your worst sport? Last 30 days is big, right? And then all time, which is sometimes it can be looking rough.
Yeah, that's what I love it for, because you know how I get on NFL Sundays. I have so many bets that for me, I can't keep track, but I get into action and it's like, oh,
so
okay,
nice, isn't it?
It's lovely. And even when you live bet, I'm doing better since we're doing this podcast, and I'm recording all my live bets.
Hell yeah.
And it lags, to your point, but the cool thing, you can go edit, you know?
Yep.
It's all right.
Do a lot of editing. You can do. They brought back custom bets because a lot of times Hard Rock will have something where obviously other books don't, or Action at least does not, and you can add a custom bet now, which is nice. Golf is real big for that, right? 3-ball matchups and stuff, and you just want to record your golf stuff. It's good for that too. We are not sponsored by Action. It'd be cool, but we are not. But we wanted to plug our stuff there. So if you want to follow and you forget what we say, you didn't write it down or have your playbook there, you can always just put in the Action app and follow us or whatever. Okay, so let's get on the good stuff. We got a lot to cover. We always do. We always go over. So Survivor Pool Pick, we won last week, which is awesome. I was going to kind of leave the floor to you, but we had the I almost said Bengals. Thank God I didn't. We had the Seahawks last week winning, which first half was a little dicey.
It was.
They looked scary. A little ratchet. I was wondering what is the most safeties in a game, and then now I'm wondering what the most safeties in a half is. I know the most safeties in a game at the NFL level. It's at 3.
Okay.
Seahawks had 2, but it was in one quarter, I think.
I would bet that's a record. If it was 1 quarter, I know it was 1 half. I didn't know it was 1 quarter.
I thought it was 1 quarter because I was winning it back to back. No?
It was pretty quick. It was. But,
okay.
But if it's end of first quarter, beginning of second, I don't remember.
Anyway, nonetheless, tell me where we're at. How we looking? What's the pool? What's up?
Here we go. So we started with 40 entries. We are down to 25 now. 15 people had the Bengals. Everybody that lost had the Bengals. A few people had the Seahawks. A few people were on Tampa Bay, New Orleans, San Francisco. Because it is cool. I can go see what everybody did.
That's pretty. I did not know that. This is the first time hearing
this. so we're down to 25 people from 40. So not bad for a week.
That's almost a half
eliminating
cut.
Almost half of the people. Great start.
Wow. Yeah, that's almost a half cut there. I'll take that. That's pretty sweet. I feel like this is when now we're playing, right? We got that first week, the number 1 pick out of the way, right? Now we're playing. You know what I mean? So where do we go from here? That's what I'm kind of wondering is because because there's a lot of teams you can choose. I'm assuming like a lot of people that you said had Tampa Bay, Saints, or whatever. Like an easy pick this week is going to be the Seahawks. It looks like because they have the Patriots. It is on the road, but on the flip side, they they have them coming back. So go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say I think this week, as far as our top 3 choices, was harder because there's a lot of big favorites.
Totally
so it's not like it's not harder, but going from 1, 2 to 3, that was difficult. Like who's actually my favorite? So I feel like we're gonna have some differences, But I'm pretty open this week.
Just to let you know, there were 2 safeties in 1 quarter. That has to be tie of a record, if not the record. 11:22 in the second, safety 1 by the Seahawks. And then at 4:24 in the second was safety 2 by the Seahawks.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty wild stuff. And then they won.
Thank you, Bo Nix.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, so kind of slowed down a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, let's get to our picks. There's a lot of good picks, and I was going to mention that's probably what I don't like. Because week 2 is, generally speaking, this goes for college football in a way, overreaction week, right? Like the Panthers, are they that bad? They're an NFL team. I don't know, right? Are the Patriots, I don't know if you're going to say that good, but they're not that bad. So should we overreact and say they're going to be better than the worst team in the league, right? Overreact there on the flip side, right? Derek Carr is probably the MVP of the league. Should we overreact there? You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of games out there that stick out as worries. Like, the Bengals haven't gotten 6 points or so, depending on what you got there from the Chiefs. Is Joe Burrow's wrist injury a serious thing that, he's over there doing one of these, people saying he can't pick up a water bottle. I don't know what it is. So nonetheless, I'll tell you who we can't choose. We can't choose the Seahawks.
No.
Yeah. So and I'll let you go first, but I'll tell you if you're just kind of joining in our survivor route here, we just got through week 1, so you can still follow us, I guess, kind of as our travels. Basically, it's a money line pick, basically. So win or lose, right? No spreads are involved with Survivor. And once you pick the team, you cannot use them again. We picked Seattle Seahawks week 1 versus the Denver Broncos, and they beat the Denver Broncos. Problem is that we cannot use the Seahawks again. The Seahawks do have the Patriots this week, although only favored by 3. Nonetheless, do you want to go back and forth? Maybe give me your third.
No,
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I spoke too early. We're going to go in the same direction. But yeah, so I'll give you my 3. You go your 3,
Yep.
2, 1, etc.
Hit me.
Perfect. Number 3, Chargers. Playing the Panthers. They're in a tough division. That is why I have them number 3. Only concern, it's a cross-country game. And like you said, was this just a shitty game for the Panthers, or are they that bad? So they're my 3rd team. I would not be mad if we picked them.
Wow. Okay. Interesting. And on the road.
And on the road. And again, that's why they're 3, I think, primarily, because I do like to pick home teams.
Yeah. The third, I had 3 teams, honestly, that were kind of in my shuffle around a little bit. But I'm going to go Eagles as 3. Okay. The reason I'm saying they're 3 is because man, that was some bad football, bro. And
I agree.
You would expect, especially being one of the first teams that played of a regular season game, with an extra 2 days, because they played Friday, right? Extra couple days to prepare. You would expect maybe a little bit more tidiness football. But
maybe a lot of travel.
I know but they're a better team than the Falcons, though.
Well, from what we saw from the Falcons, yes. and kind of like what you were saying about Joe Burrow, we don't know what's real with Kirk Cousins right now.
Right.
They ran 0 play action plays in that game. 0. That is wild to me.
Yeah, I remember hearing that on the radio. That is wild.
Yes, and the theory, I guess, is because Kirk Cousins' Achilles is not healed. But that's like, I don't know what's real. I don't know.
That it's worrisome. Yeah, but I like the Eagles there. But at the same token, the Falcons are. I just always think they're a gritty team. They're kind of in my pocket with the Arizona Cardinals, a gritty team that I like, but I also don't trust to bet against. That's kind of where I'm at. But I think the Eagles, you mentioned it on the last podcast, we're expecting a bounce back year, right? We're expecting them to be better. Some people have them as Super Bowl contenders again. So that's kind of why I'm on that train a little bit.
Okay.
But anyway, what you got us to?
Number 2, I have the Texans playing at home versus the Chicago Bears. Primetime spot. Not in a hard division, but they're at home in a dome. It's Caleb Williams' first road game in the NFL. I'll keep it that simple.
Wow. Number 2. That was your 2. Okay. All right. That's a little bit. I didn't expect that to be your 2, but I guess I'm not.
We may not have one team the same this week.
Yeah, we might not. I think I now know who. I think I might know who your 1 is now.
I bet you're going to be wrong on it, though.
You think?
I do.
Wow.
Well, let's go ahead. What do you got for 2?
Okay. Number 2, I got 49ers at 2.
On
now,
the road versus the Vikings.
Yes.
Oof.
Now, we could use them. I think we talked about it last week. I think it was on the week 9. They also have another favorite matchup week 9. I like the 49ers here. I think they showed a lot with McCaffrey being out, not phased. O-line's so good, man. That O-line's so nice.
Which was a huge shock that they just bullied the Jets.
Correct.
I mean, because I was talking last week on the podcast, talking shit on their offensive line. I said they have one guy that's an all-pro Hall of Famer, book it. Best tackle in the NFL. Trent Williams, after that, they suck. I was proved very wrong, man. They shocked me.
Yeah. And
the Vikings scare me, though. Sorry to interrupt. The Vikings scare me because I feel like they've beat the Niners the last 2 years, and I don't know why.
Yeah, and at home, and the spread's dipped down too, but I like them a lot there. They said McCaffrey's most likely out again as well this week.
I think that came through. I think I saw it right before we started having the technical difficulties. He is officially out, and they are contemplating IR. Probably a 4-week IR, not like a season, but one of those 4-week IRs.
That's a 4-weeker. Okay, all right.
It's not official yet. It's one of those contemplating.
Okay, hit me with the next one. What you got is 1?
Number 1. I think you're gonna think I was gonna say the Ravens, but I went with the Lions.
Oh, way off. I'm way off.
Because the Ravens, the Ravens have a couple of good matchups late. I would not be mad to use them this week, though. I want to be clear. But I have the Lions this week. I like the Bucks. You know, I love Baker Mayfield. But the Buccaneers have 3 injured defensive backs.
I saw that.
That is what you call cluster injuries in the NFL. So if you get a starting quarterback, he could get hurt, and the backup could be a downgrade of 4 points when it comes to like team power rating, right? If you get like a stud defensive lineman or a stud tackle like Trent Williams, maybe 1 point. But generally, if you have one player out, maybe a little bit of a downgrade. That's not a quarterback. But when you have 3 players out at the same position, that is cluster injury. So that's honestly why I have the Lions.
Yeah, and you know what? Goff didn't exactly play that well. His grade is poor on PFF, and
I thought he played really bad.
He's not that bad.
No, but he played bad.
So you would expect a rebound, I'm assuming, this week. I mean, he's not that bad.
Right.
Now,
right.
I thought Tampa Bay played better than they are last week. Yep. I mean, what is it? What did they say? Baker didn't see. He saw, what was it, either man or zone the whole game or something like that? Like the entire game. They never switched it.
I think it was man because, yeah, there's that meme where he went up to one of the coaches and he was like, if they're going to fucking single Mike Evans, I'll throw it to it all day. Yeah. Shit's easy. So I think they were playing man the whole time.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I'm assuming they probably become a run. They're a pass-heavy team because I don't know if they'll be able to run on the Lions.
Yeah.
I don't know with that. So it's going to go back in Baker's hands to really thrust forward. My number 1, believe it or not, was the Ravens.
Okay.
But because it makes the most sense. But it makes so much sense. Is this another Patriots-Bengals situation?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? You just got to win. We just got to win.
And I would have no problem using the Ravens. Like I said, I put them 4, but I would have no issue. And I only say that because we didn't agree on any other teams. We have no matches. And at least the Ravens was my 4.
I was looking at the Lions' schedule here and kind of seeing where we could slot them in coming up. They don't exactly have an easy row, so to speak, outside of this.
I think that's why I put them 1.
Okay. At Arizona, you know me with Arizona. I don't know. Versus Seattle. It's on Monday night, right? But Seattle ain't a bad team.
Seattle beat their ass last year. I don't love it.
I don't either. At Dallas. We don't really know who Dallas is,
Nope.
I think, at the moment. At Minnesota. You already have reservations about that this week.
And I don't like doing survivors in conference games because they know each other so well.
Oh, man, the spreads are always 3 or so, right?
Yep.
And then I think the next best would be Week 8 versus Tennessee. They're at home, as you know what I mean.
That's okay. That is the one game, yeah. Because if you give me Will Levis, I'm good. I'm
Exactly.
good against that guy.
Exactly. So that's kind of where we would slot them in at. And if we make it to Week 8, I'm really having good vibes, as in we made it a long way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think I like the Lions here. If you want I don't mind it.
You don't mind it?
I don't mind
Okay.
it. I was going to bring up, while we're at it, I was also going to bring up the Ravens schedule because I also know that we've looked at them, and Week 9 was another slot for them against an easier opponent as well. I was going to take a look at them. Hold on. Let me bring up our Ravens schedule. I know they're not looking at it, but that's all right. We can talk about it.
Week 6.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember who, but I have Week 6 written down.
Commanders.
There we go.
Commanders.
At home, right?
At home. So
that's why I wrote down the Ravens Week 6.
Yeah,
and took them off my list.
And then they have Denver Week 9.
At home?
Yep.
Okay.
Denver Week 9.
So they have a couple slots.
Yeah, and then if we make it to Week 16, hopefully we already won by then. Yeah, so I'm cool with that. I think we stick with our guns there. I know this might be a semi-decent spot for Ravens. Obviously, they were number 1. I like it a lot versus Raiders. But at the same token, man, like, let me look at the Raiders' schedule. When can we pick against them?
The Raiders. Oof.
Yeah. Oh man, that could be a Carolina win next week. Who knows? Because they have Carolina Panthers next week, but Cleveland could be a solid choice week. I mean, I know a lot of people are scared to death to pick road teams in Survivor. I know you're a little bit hesitant, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. You had Chargers, right?
Exactly. Like I
Yeah.
try to pick
Okay.
home teams, but if the matchup's right, like it's not like road teams don't win.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm opposed to it. I think I'm more opposed to conference games than I am road games.
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes sense because I'm not going to say 50-50. I don't think anything's exactly 50-50. But, I mean, conference games in the NFL can be. I mean, come on. Like, that could be really tough. All right, anyway, I think let's go with the Lions. I'm down with it.
Okay.
I was going to bring up a green line for you on money line. 83% of tickets, 52% of cash. And you know what? I'm okay with it. I'd rather it not be insane because it's the NFL, man. If it's too much one way, that's when it starts to scare me.
The money line has at least gone up since the open. And the spread has, versus it's gone the other way in the Raiders-Baltimore game. But those are just math, guys, man. I was listening to something, and the NFL market is so different in the past 2 years because so many people are coming into it that are just math nerds. They have models, that's it. They don't know football, they just go off their models, and if they have an advantage, they play it. And that's the only reason this number's been driven down.
Yeah.
That's kind of a side thing, but at least the Lions have been bet up. I guess that's really what I was trying to say.
Yeah. I'm okay with it. I think we go with it. Goff can't play worse, I guess. He's that good, I think, in terms of current quarterback status. I mean, he had a horrible grade. What amount is that? 43.2 last week. So like, yeah, he can't. Almost worst grade in the league.
And I felt that way because I had a good chunk of money on the Lions last week, and I was really worried because I was like, Sean McVay has this number this time, and the reason going into that game I didn't care about that is because they played in the playoffs last year and Goff showed out. So I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, McVay knows him, but they've played since then. But McVay figured something out because Goff was bad in overtime. They threw one pass, I think.
Yeah.
they ran 8 times in a row.
I mean, when you have that dual-headed monster running back, man, that's kind of hard to go away from that. You know what I mean? Especially when it's running like they were. That
offensive line just wore him out, I think.
We'll get to that, actually. Here, I was about to segue. It's a good segue. Offensive line wore them out, but we have a where we were right. We had a defensive lineman maybe wear them out as well, maybe in the last play of the game. But anyway, where we were right, we can I'm going to probably skip ahead there, but we can segue into that a little bit. Did I have that? I don't even have that in I thought I had 4. Did I not put that down?
You didn't put it in there. I
screwed up our records.
The Aiden Hutchinson, you got that right.
I did, so I got to redo. Well, my graphic's going to be wrong at the end. No, yep, it will be. So I was 3-1 last week.
Yeah.
Oh, darn. All right, anyway, we'll explain it. Aiden Hutchinson on the last play of regulation.
So exciting.
Dude, unbelievable. I was actually delayed, I think, because we were traveling back from Sarah's parents' house, and so I was a little delayed. I think it was like a play or two behind, and you texted me. And I was like, did I miss it? No. And then he sacked him at the very last play. And I was like, hell yeah. Because he was rushing pretty good, but man, they had it down. They were getting the ball out quick, bro.
So fast.
God, Stafford looked so good. I thought looked really, really, really good, man.
He was damn impressive.
Gosh.
And they knew because obviously last year you pulled up that last week about how he sacked him twice.
Yep.
And because he was getting pressure, like you said, all game. But dude, they did not fuck around. And like honestly, by halftime, I was like, this is a dead bet.
I thought it was too.
Yeah, but last play of the game, or regulation. Because
it was so funny. Because when you texted me that on the play before that, he beat around the edge and was going to come around behind, and I don't know if he touched him. It was definitely a reach out, and then the ball came out. I was like, okay, he's getting closer. I was like, okay. And then when you said that we got it, I was like, oh, did he actually get there this time? And he did. So I was so pumped, dude. So that was a big hit for where we were right. I'll kind of go in order, I guess, a little bit. Jalen Hurts under 37.5. I think he had 34 rushing yards.
On 13 carries.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part. You made such a good bet because his over-under on carries was 7.5.
Shut the hell up.
Yes, and he had 13 carries for 34 yards, so you read that shit right, man.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, I didn't realize that part. But when I was watching the game, I don't know if you want to call it a QB spy, but they knew they were not letting him get anywhere, man. as soon as he would scramble out, he would start to kind of run parallel with the line of scrimmage to see if he could throw it. And then he finally would bail out for 2 yards. I was like, and then it would be 2 yards on the next time. And I was like, bro, this is going to be hard for 37.5.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And the next one is, if you're talking ROI percentage, this was a knock it out of the park. I'm sorry. Illinois at Kansas, man. Daniels looks worse, maybe.
So bad.
The dude, I think, has more picks than touchdowns so far. Tonight's obviously a big night. But, the Kansas had every reason to win that game, too. So it's just kind of I don't know if you want to call it shitty football, who's going to be the shittiest. But at the same token, Illinois won money line, plus 160 for me. So that's kind of a game and a half win. But, I like that going in. And then Phil still kind of followed behind me. I don't know.
He followed your bet, dude.
That's kind of the way I'm looking at it. I'm just kidding. I was pumped to hear when he also said the same thing. I was like, because there was a lot of signals, right? Talk about the signals on action. A lot of signals pointing towards Illinois on that game. But I thought it was it could have gone Kansas all the way. But anytime they decided to throw it, man, Daniels just kind of threw him out of it.
He was really bad. And this is the only thing I'll say, because we were texting in that game. I'm sure you could tell I was frustrated.
Yeah, of course.
Because I also was like, Kansas should win this, but Jalen Daniels was so bad. And then I got to thinking, 3 years ago when I saw him play, I was like, God, this guy's not very good, but he's so athletic.
Yep.
And then 2 years ago, I was like, holy shit, this guy's reading a field. He is throwing dimes. He can just rocket it. And then he got hurt last year, so he didn't really play. You know the only difference? We lost the offensive coordinator that went to Penn State, and I really think that guy made a difference. And I say that because Jason Bean was our backup, and he came in last year. And he was good.
So good.
He was very good as a backup. And I'm just so convinced that offensive coordinators can make or break guys, especially in college. And I think he must have made it very easy for Jalen Daniels, because Jalen Daniels can't read a fucking defense.
Right.
Clearly. Like, he's still got arm talent and he's still athletic, but he cannot read a defense. And I think the other OC made it easy. That's my rant. I'm done.
Yeah, no, and it'd be interesting to see how he adjusts tonight, because they kind of got a decent game coming back. UNLV is not a scrub. They beat the shit out of Houston. Be interested to see coming back how he looks. You had Packers at Eagles.
-2.
Yes.
Came through. I think they won by 5.
Yeah, sloppy game. But obviously, Eagles definitely seemed like the better team, and then obviously you had a big injury there late as well. Jordan, do we know how long he's out? I kind of saw that he was probably going to be out at least this week. Is that still the case? Or?
Yes, that is. Yeah, that's definitely the case. The fear was ACL, and then it was like 2 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
But you can really read, because they talked about bringing Ryan Tannehill in, which would make sense. He played for Matt LaFleur at Tennessee. Hey, let's bring him in. The fact that they didn't bring him in, this is how you can kind of read injuries, is what do they do on the waiver wire, or who do they pick up or not pick up? The fact that they did not pick Tannehill up, I think it's going to be like a 1 or 2 week injury. Just guessing, but Malik Willis is garbage. So if they're not bringing Tannehill in, I have to assume they think it's a short-term injury.
Malik Willis is garbage, but that spread's only 3.5. Is that what I saw?
And I think it's down to 3 because the number guys are taking the Packers.
Why?
I'm not big because the line moved like 8 points. It was Packers -5 on the look ahead, so now Colts -3. It's math, guys, dude. I'm telling you, I bet the Colts -3. So
okay, all right,
there's that.
Well, it's the sanity pick, but anyway, Rams at Lions. Great game. Gosh, man. And the cover on that was pretty insane in overtime. Right?
I was scared.
Fair. It would be as well. It would be as well. But 2 good hits there because, NFL's not an easy sport to bet. So I'll just tell you that right now. Where we were wrong, I was so wrong on this. It looked great in the first quarter. Cal at Auburn, I had the over 53.5. I don't even know. I think I ended up live betting it and hitting it by a half a point or a point on the live bet under.
Oh.
Yeah, 35.5, I think is the live bet I got under. So that tells you how far I was off. Almost a full 20 points off of that over under. It really settled down after the first quarter. It really became like a kind of an SEC battle of just pretty defenses that are playing better, like Auburn's defense played better than I thought. And Cal likes to run the ball, so it kind of became a grounded out game. A really good game to watch. I did not see it, but I did follow it. But that was a way, way under And then Saints at Panthers.
I one-upped you on this one. As far as being off.
See,
I will just eat it. I had the Panthers plus 3.5. I even took a live bet plus 10.5. I doubled down.
You sure
we don't need to say anything else.
Yeah, the live bet doesn't count, so you're in good graces there. Still coming out on top here. Here's the thing, and we'll probably get into this. We got the NFL coming up. You had the Panthers. Obviously, everybody was extremely low on them. They were obviously at best one of the better bets for worst record in the league. Patriots right up there. I did not choose either one, but anyway, is that is it overreaction week? Is it overreaction week for the Panthers? Are they that bad? I know their grades are terrible. PFF has them as a horrible football team, but they're still an NFL team. Are they that bad? You know what I'm saying? So
that's the scary part.
It is.
So we had to bet on.
I know. We got the graphic. I guess maybe I'm shortchanging myself. I guess I didn't even see it. I need to put this in the notes here so I don't miss my actual bet that I got right. Because I definitely said that. Anyway, Lions. I'm sorry, I'm gonna put it in. Is 8 and. Go ahead.
I think I'm 3-4. I don't think you. I think I was 1-3 coming into this week. I lost the Panthers. I think that too.
I can't even do math now. So this graphic is trash. Why even create a graphic? Nonetheless, we're not terrible. I'm hanging in there pretty good, and gosh, this week might actually flip the script on me. I don't even know.
So you were 6-4.
I am. I'm 6-4. You're 3-4, right?
Yep. That's right.
I did edit this on free Photoshop, so I can't even do it on the fly. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
My bad. Yeah. What a host I am. Okay, upcoming week schedule. I always look at your games that you always put on this list on our script here, and I go off of that and I dive in because I want to be able to keep up. Because I'm a college guy, I do a lot of that, but there's a lot more games in college, so I kind of get overwhelmed, to be honest with you. But upcoming week schedule, I have no idea where you're going to go with this, but let me turn. I have it right here. Okay, it's my first page on my notes. Saints at Cowboys. New Orleans Saints against the Dallas Cowboys. We're at Dallas Cowboys. Tell me what you got.
Yes, I think this is interesting. I do have a bet on the game, but I really just wanted to talk about it because both teams exceeded expectations. And I think it's one of the rare matchups where the line did not move really from open until where we're at now.
Yeah.
Because both teams far exceeded their expectations. Saints obviously went in and beat the shit out of the Panthers. Cowboys went to Cleveland and destroyed the Browns. I mean, their offense kind of didn't. They kind of shut it down the entire second half. So I just thought it was an interesting game. 6.5, 6. It's been bouncing between those numbers. That's really nothing significant. But I have one bet on the game.
Okay.
I took the Saints team total under 19.5. And here's why. Derek Carr has the biggest split among starting quarterbacks of his rating when he is kept clean in the pocket versus when he is under pressure. The Panthers, I want to say, had 3 pressures the entire game. That's embarrassing. The Panthers' best defensive lineman is Jadeveon Clowney, a guy that gives his full effort about 10% of the game, and that is their best defensive lineman. And then you have the Cowboys. We all know about the Cowboys. Micah Parsons.
Stud.
Stud.
What's our guy on the other side? Went to Butler Community College. Can't even remember his damn name.
Oh,
right
you
now.
should know. Yeah.
Oh, man. Why can I not remember his name right now?
Lawrence.
There we go. DeMarcus Lawrence. Yes. So he's really good too. So the Cowboys put pressure on, and they could do it naturally. And so that's why I just think that's why I took the Saints team total under, is because of Derek Carr's splits when he is under pressure, and he was so clean last week. So, kind of how you alluded to at the beginning of the podcast. Like Derek Carr, MVP, overreaction?
Shoot, man.
Definitely. But Saints fans will be thinking he's an MVP after that game because he lit him up. I didn't want to take a side in this game because I don't know what the Cowboys are either, really. They weren't tested because Deshaun Watson is garbage. So the most comfortable bet I felt taking was the Saints team total under. That is 19.5. That is not one of my official best bets, but I have a bet on the game.
Okay.
And it's based purely because when Derek Carr gets under pressure, doesn't do very well. Only concern with that,
the Saints, since he did get there, Pete Carmichael was the OC, not highly respected. Their OC now is Clint Kubiak. Could sound familiar because his dad, Gary Kubiak, coached for the Texans, the Broncos, had a good amount of success.
Oh, yeah.
Random side note, Clint Kubiak was the QC at the Vikings when I worked there.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
I'd like to say, one of the nicest dudes ever.
Hell
you know how
yeah.
some coaches are cool, some are douchebags. This guy was just class. Super
That's
cool.
dope.
So that's my only worry because this is his first OC job, and he was at the Niners last year, so he's learning from Shanahan. That's my only fear on the bet. But when I get that stat about Derek Carr just sucking when he's under pressure, that's where I was like, this is the angle I'm going to attack. So that's what I got.
They actually, I mean, I guess it's kind of up to you. I'm not an official offensive lineman, judge, coach, scout. They might have the best center in the league. Eric McCoy, the Saints may. Fifth in the season last year. He's first outside of week 1, right? So not a lot of value, but that kind of their line through week 1 is grading pretty well. But
It is.
Micah Parsons pretty tough to handle in a general sense. So it'll be interesting to see how the pass rush at least factors into this. Where's Michael Thomas this year?
Free agent, baby.
Is he really?
Yeah,
Unbelievable. He kind of had a comeback year.
A little bit. I love that he got paid and then didn't play for a year and a half, and now he's out of the league. Got his money though. That's
all that matters. Tua's about to get his money and not play either.
Correct.
Okay, here's what I got. Some notes that I found through my own research here last night. Dallas has won the last 2 times played here versus the Saints specifically. This is all versus Saints. And they were the underdog both times.
Wow.
Pretty nuts on that
How
one.
recent is this?
Pretty deep. 2022. I'm not having it in front of me. And then 2020 was the one before that, maybe? I could be off maybe on it's like every 2 years type of thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm not looking at it right
yes.
here, but I'll bring it up as we roll here. Home team has won the last 6 of 7 in this series specifically. That's pretty nuts.
Wow.
Yeah, I think last year broke the trend. Otherwise, it's been 7 straight, actually, for home team winning this series. And then I got some other good stuff here. I do have a bet as well, similar to you. But the Cowboys' offensive line, I'm going to specifically attack the tackles in this area, if you know what I'm saying. Okay? If I attack the tackles, Guyton is a rookie this year. Not a good week 1.
No.
Not a good week 1. Go ahead.
To be fair, they did say coming in he was a raw prospect, and he's an OU guy, so I'm familiar with him.
Okay.
Tons of talent, but he might need some time, and he had a terrible grade week 1.
Yep. Sorry, I'm sitting here slowly trying to bring up the stat for the playing Dallas. Okay. Yeah, the last 2 times they played each other was 21 and 19. And they were both at Dallas. So 2021 and 2019.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, I have that's a serious issue. And then Terrence Steele, if you look at his grade, his strength is run blocking. Solid run blocker. If you look at his pass block grade, not great. One of the bottom tier of the league in terms of bottom half. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who the Saints have on the other side of the ball? Chase Young. Pretty high draft pick, right? He only does one thing, and he only does one thing well. That is pressure the quarterback. I don't even know if I would say sack the quarterback. I don't know if I would say that, okay? Because if you look at his sack numbers, they're not great.
No. For being the number 2 overall pick, hasn't quite met expectation.
Yeah.
Him and Jadeveon Clowney can go hang out.
Yeah, and Clowney's definitely been, and it's still early for Chase Young, so I shouldn't say that. But Mario Williams is he's a Pro Bowler, pretty damn good player, and he was pretty highly picked. Anyway, Dak, the offensive line and Dak, because you got to include the quarterback in this type of thing, they let up 3 sacks last week. They were sacked 3 times last week. All of the sacks that occurred were by the defensive line. So 2 DNs got a sack, 1 defensive tackle got a sack. Chase Young had 3 pressures last week. Okay. Rushing the quarterback specifically had a good game due to getting in the backfield. did not have a sack, did not tackle. I was about to cuss. Did not tackle a fucking person.
I've already cussed, man. If you're going to help.
So he can't tackle, but he can get after the quarterback. He had 7.5 sacks last year. He is good at times for a half a sack. At plus 165, I have Chase Young at a half a sack or more. So basically over under a half a sack. I got it at plus 165. I think this is a risky-ish bet, but a lot of signs point well. The tackles are weak. One's bad at pass blocking. The other one is a rookie. Chase Young is an athletic person, was picked number 2 overall for a reason. He can only do one thing. They're going to have him just do that. Okay? So I'm going this week Chase Young over in half sack.
You're going Chase Young. Do you know his snap count? I don't expect you to know this, but he's not listed as a starter. That's the only reason I'm asking. I'm sure he's in there quite a bit.
So snap count, sorry. I just had I had him up there for a second, but oh yeah, he's not. It was decent. 40. Oh my gosh, I was looking at last night. So it was 42 snaps. Was that it? I got it right here. Here we go. 37 snaps on the D line.
Okay. So that's because that's the only thing I want to make sure of
because he sucks.
That bet is, but if you get volume, you get chances. And he didn't suck, like you said. He just does one thing: rush the pass.
Here's the thing: the Cowboys' O-line, the tackles are a bit weak. I'm assuming they'll rush him on the edge. He's an edge rusher. I know it sounds dumb, but you'd be surprised. A lot of stunts are ran, so you don't know. And at the same token, their other D lineman could get a sack. Carlos Granderson is their other D lineman. That's the next best. Actually, he's the best option in terms of having a sack. He's a plus 160. He's not a bad defensive end. He's not great. It all depends. He graded pretty well last year, even better the year before. His week 1 was about average. You know what I'm saying? So he's a solid cat, but he didn't play a ton. He played 40 snaps last week.
Yeah.
So he didn't play a ton more. I know 8 snaps is pretty solid, but went with a little bit of value play there and a little bit of a talent play there in terms of pass rush. It's a risk. I'm on the fence on best bet. I might throw it in, but at value play, I went for it, 165. So
hey, I don't mind it.
Okay,
I don't mind it.
All right, we'll keep rolling. And what did you say your bet? Did I miss? Oh yeah, team total. Sorry, I saw your note there. Team total, not total on the game. Okay, yep. 19.5, right, for Saints.
Yep, under 19.5.
Yep. All right, Bengals at Chiefs is the next one you have. I have no idea where you're going to go. I just looked at the notes here. You're going to pair money line with Chargers. Hit me what you got.
Yeah, so I'm not confident about this game. I wanted to talk about it, but maybe just because of the Joe Burrow angle and Chase holding out and Higgins. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I just think it's interesting, man. Because the Bengals were kind of the Chiefs' kryptonite for a while. They obviously beat them 2 years ago to get into the Super Bowl to win their first of the consecutives. Second with Mahomes, but first of the consecutive 2. So when you see that, I think when you see this line initially at 6, and it's that seems like a lot. I mean, I wanted to take the Bengals because I was like, that seems like a lot. Why would I not take the Bengals here? I don't care if they're on the road. So it was just really the line that caught me off guard. But I have no interest in taking a side on this game. If I were to take anything, if I was forced to, I would take the Bengals. But Bengals, ever since Joe Burrow has been a starter, weeks 1 and 2, they suck. God, why can't I remember their stat? 1-7 with him in the first 2 weeks. I mean, they're terrible. So that doesn't make me feel good. The Burrow, like you alluded to, there was a lot of video of all during the game he was shaking out that wrist, and it's whoa, that's week 1, man. Why are you already shaking that out? Then you got Jamar Chase, the biggest diva in the NFL, that for some reason thinks he's the best receiver. Sorry, you're not, pal. You're not even in the top 5. And so he was rusty because he didn't do training camp. You don't have Higgins. Anyways, I just think the Bengals are not the same team without those 2 studs. That makes defensive coordinators, it puts so much pressure on them. This is just an interesting game, but I'm too scared to take the Bengals, so I'm not going to do it. But I will take Mahomes' money line. I will absolutely take Mahomes at money line. And the reason I want to pair it, I don't want to just take it by itself, so I'm going to pair it with the Chargers. Not an official best bet, but I wanted to get something down here.
Okay.
So that's all I got. I am going. You got to take the thing because we'll be back. I'll be back.
Okay. No, I got a lot of good stuff. You're going to miss it all. So here's what I got. So he mentioned that they start off pretty rough, start the year. So I have last year, obviously they were 0-2. We got that. I mean, they ended up winning the week 3 versus the Rams. Year before that, they also were 0-2, but they actually did cover in an overtime. They actually had Steelers in 2022. And it's so weird. This is the craziest thing. And then the year before that, 2021, they had Minnesota week 1, right? And they went in overtime again. They did cover that game. So it's a dogfight. Let's just say that. It's an absolute dogfight for the Cincinnati Bengals week 1. I mean, razor thin spreads for the most part. And then the last 2 years have been really bumpy, but Joe Burrow did end up getting injured about halfway through the year. But here's my stats, okay? I have Bengals at Chiefs. The under, I have an under stat, has hit last 4 of 5. I thought that was a pretty interesting stat, especially being at the Chiefs. Kansas City can get crazy with the weather. And then the wind. I'm a big wind guy. I always text Alex on the wind. I have the wind as almost 10 miles an hour. So we got under has hit last 4 or 5 games between these two cats. The wind is almost 10 miles an hour. I love both of those two combined right there. Definitely one of my favorite. And then the Chiefs haven't had a winning record against the spread as a single-digit favorite since 2019. Not That's a good right. team against the spread as a favorite. Single digits.
Well, under 3, they're great. Mahomes is great when he's, but if you get over 3, they suck against the spread.
Yep, not good. So many signs here that are crazy. This one is nuts. As a home favorite, Chiefs versus non-division teams in the last 10 years, they're 14-32 against the spread.
Wow.
Holy moly. That is that is a lot. Bengals, since 2022, so kind of that Joe Burrow-ish. I know he's been injured, so it's kind of tough. 10-3 as a single-digit dog. Nuts.
Oh, damn.
Stats. As an away dog, last 10 years, 16-13 Bengals. And then I'm on the under, by the way, if you're keeping tabs on where I'm going, just because of the first two, the wind. As a dog, over, under, non-division, the Bengals games specifically, 8-11 versus over and under. So non-division games have a little bit of advantage there with the under. If you look at that, that's about 500 with the Bengals in terms of the things that fit the mold here of the game. The under is maybe slightly favored in like the 55% range. The 8-11 kind of stuck out a little bit more. I could have gone back farther than that. That's just I think it was the last 5 years, since Burrow's been the starter. That was those numbers. So I could have gone back to 10 years when I dropped some of those. A lot of the numbers favor the Bengals in terms of, I guess, what you want to call those trends, I guess. Sure. I mean, that one, the non-division one last 10 years is a little frightening there. I just thought they were so freaking dominant at home. You don't want to know the Chiefs' numbers on the road. They are awesome. The Chiefs rock it. Non-division on the road. Kill it. Because they don't know Mahomes. They don't know his shit. You know what I'm saying? Yep. At home, though, man, it blew my mind. With the Chiefs, we've been there. You've been there. It blew my mind how non-division weak they are at home. I couldn't believe it, especially with the Mahomes and Andy Reid. It was just nuts. Anyway, my bet is the under. I don't even know what I got it at. Did I put it on the script? Probably not. Anyway, I got the under for sure. Whatever it was, I got it at it. I would have taken it right now. Just because of the wind, if the wind stays that strong, that's pretty solid. Under 48, that's what I have. And it has moved. It has not moved at all. So if you still want it, you can still get it. I know you're not a huge wind guy, but I am.
I'm a wind guy. I just wait for 20 degrees. That's my number before I...
I'll call you in November. All right. It's at 10.5 now. It's at 9.5 a day ago. So we're going up in wind.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying last what was that? Last 4 or 5 or under. Anyway, so I got the under 48. So that's a best bet. That's a best bet. That's a best. Yes. Okay. That's a best bet. Okay. We'll keep moving here. We got some college to get to as well. Bears at Texans. I didn't know it. Gosh, this game was so hard for me to really nail down. I actually hated researching it because I didn't feel comfortable. I have no idea what you have. You say you have a spread bet. I mean, what you got?
Same as you, baby.
Oh.
Texans minus 6.5.
Okay.
This is Texans didn't look amazing last week versus the Colts, but I mean Colts were such a boom or bust team. I mean Anthony Richardson was just chucking, so I'm not like downgrading the Texans because of that defensive performance not being very good. It doesn't bother me, I guess is where I'm going with. I think their defense is still damn good. They play in the Dome. We've both been there. You got Will Anderson coming hot off the edge. Our guy, Matt Burkich. This is a bet against the Bears and Caleb Williams. Roma Dunze is also out. He's trending out. Keenan Allen got injured. He's questionable. We don't know. I mean, the Bears could go from an elite receiver core to having one good guy, and Caleb Williams threw for 93 passing yards last week. 93 yards. His yards per attempt was 3.2 yards. Because he had like 30 pass attempts and threw for 93 yards.
Yeah.
The Bears were the first team in the past 20 years to be down double digits at halftime, win the game without scoring an offensive touchdown.
Yeah, man. I'd be hard that. Yes.
And out of 263 games, I want to say, where a favorite was down double digits at halftime, they've not covered a spread over 4. This was the first game. And the Bears covered the spread without an offensive touchdown. That's not going to happen with C.J. Stroud and the Texans. That's a big number. A lot of my bets this week feel so Joe-ish, man. Like more Joe than normal. But I just don't care. Like, I'm going to trust that Caleb Williams is going to have a little bit of a learning curve in the NFL. Because you can't go off script like he always did in college. He was a very off-script guy. We talked about this. Like, he threw pretty quick last week too. Also, one other thing on the Bears, their defense. I think people are pretty high on their defense. One, they played Will Levis and the fucking Texans last week. I'm sorry.
Good first half, though.
Good. Yes. But the Bears defense specifically, last year people were pretty bullish on them after they made that Montez Sweat trade. Defensive end. He's good.
Yeah.
But if you actually go back and look at their schedule, most of their games were against backup quarterbacks because the starters were injured. So I think the Bears defense is being overplayed. And when you couple that they may have 2 of their starting guys out, I'm on the Texans minus 6.5. Also, no, it's not a best bet. I've got 3 other ones I really like.
Okay.
But I mean, I've made the bet. I like it. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I think you have the same. What do you got?
I do. Just to give you a couple tidbits here in a general sense. The Bears in the last 10 years, they just suck.
Great stat.
They just suck, dude. I'm sorry. Anyway, they just suck as an away dog. It doesn't matter if I go last 5 years. I know people like recent shit. If they go last, it's just bad. They're 29 and 37 in the last 10 years. It's about the same percentage if you just go last 5 years. They just suck. Now, they're a better home dog. Obviously, it can be tough to play in Chicago, definitely time of year. But everything, bro, it doesn't matter if it's non-conference, if it's conference, turf, grass, double-digit favorite, double-digit underdog. Everything, they suck. It's 500 or worse. Okay, sorry. I don't hate the Bears. I'm
just laughing because that's great.
I'm trying to get better at not being non-biased when I do my research, but when I see shit like this, it makes me really tough, really hard to be unbiased. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. Last 2 times at Houston Texans, as the Texans were a home team, they've covered.
Okay.
Okay. Last 2 times. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to get away from the mic. And if it's a push, I win. I just want to make this known that they were favored by 3 in 2022 and they won by 3. So you take that as you will. But in 2020, they beat the living shit out of them 36-7. Both times were in Houston. The spread was they were the underdog in that game. They were plus 1.5, Houston was, and they beat the shit out of them. Okay. The Texans.
I like this bet even more.
Okay.
One other thing I'm going to throw out there. Tickets. 28% of the tickets are on the Texans. 88% of the cash.
Yeah, there you go. There's a public play against a public play.
Yep.
The Texans D, you mentioned this. They didn't play great last week. The Texans D line cannot play any worse. If you look at their grades from last year, they graded one of the worst D lines in the league, if not the worst. If you look at their grades as a whole from last season, they are not that bad. They are not that bad. It is impossible for them. I'm sorry. This is just normal life. If you had a bad day at work, having 2 bad days of you sucking, you might hate your job. But if you suck 2 bad, that's on you. So my point is, they can't have 2 terrible games as personnel in a row, especially against a rookie quarterback as well. So I'm kind of going with they can't be this bad play, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going with that. So that's all I got. I know it's not a lot. It's a couple good tidbits, but I do like the fact this the 6. I just don't like it at 7. I don't think. I don't know. Where is that? Is C.J. Stroud going to play semi as poorly as he did? And is the Bears defense that good? I know we both think it's the opposite. C.J. Stroud is good. The Bears defense is meh. Right? It's medium. So everything will then come back down to equilibrium, I guess. But I am a little afraid if that did get to 7. I don't know. It's a high spread.
No. It hit 7 for about a second. That's it. It breezed it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then it touched 6 for a second. 6.5 is where it's going to sit, and I think that's the number we both got.
Yeah. So I like it 6.5. It's really going to depend on the Bears' offense if they can even move the ball. So, okay, is that a best bet for you?
No, we're not really covering the games that I have my best bets on.
Okay.
I'm going a little bit different this week, but we'll get there.
Okay. So we'll move on to college. Okay. And I'll go. This was a really tough week for me. I did a lot of look at games. I did a lot of stuff, and I don't really have good feelings on. I really only have a good feeling on one. Okay, and it's not even really. It's more one of my side snippet things, and I did a lot of feel this week, so I could get bit in the ass. I may not. First one I got is UAB at Arkansas. A lot of people kind of on Arkansas in terms of playing at home, and I got 24.5. The spread has moved in my favor. Right, we're down to 23.5 for UAB. But here is my sole thing that tipped me the other edge. Arkansas has failed to cover in 5 straight non-conference games. So against non-conference foes, looks like Arkansas is sleepwalking a little bit, especially because SEC teams, I apologize. SEC teams don't play anyone in non-conference. Very rarely. Especially when you get into the Arkansas, the Vanderbilts. Although Vandy kind of went on the edge this year with Virginia Tech. But nonetheless, you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
So that really kind of tipped me. I thought 24.5 was a lot. Trent Dilfer, I think this is year 2 for him. But they're getting better. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm a Trent Dilfer guy, but generally speaking, you kind of know year 2, definitely year 3 is the year, and then year 4 is like, do we fire him or not? Right. We're going to extension or fire.
Yeah. I mean, I think year 3 is honestly kind of extension or fire.
Well, definitely an NIL. But basically, this was a bet strictly off of Arkansas's deal here. I'm going to keep it moving just because this is a feel week for me, man. I'm sorry. Did you have anything there? You probably don't.
No, I don't.
Oh, sorry.
I was looking at some stuff on it. I haven't been familiar with these two teams at all. But to back you up, that's kind of where I'm at in the NFL, because I feel like so many of my bets are so Joe-ish this week, man. Like, I kind of feel like a fraud, but I'm like, kind of like, fuck the pros, dude. I'm going to go with what I'm feeling this week. So I'm with you on the NFL. I feel the same way. Like, there's a lot of feel stuff where I'm just like, I just don't care. It's only 1 week of data. I'm not going to get obsessed on the data right now. So I feel you. Here's the interesting thing about this game that I just want to point out.
Okay.
Because I don't have a bet on this game. The interesting thing is early in the week, this market moved heavy for Arkansas in their favor. from 21 to almost 25.
Wow.
Right? And then you obviously got it at a very good line because you think you said you had 24.5, right?
I do. You're right.
Yeah, so that's a great line because so it's down to 23.5, but 24 is obviously a key number. But it went back, and it went back late in the week. And the reason I bring that up is because 80% of the cash and 85% of the tickets are on UAB. So I almost wonder if this was like a fake out game. You know, where people were trying to drive that Arkansas price up so they could hit UAB. Anyways, I guess my thing is you are not going against the public. I think you may be on the right side, and I think you got the best that you could have on the number.
Shit, I hope so. It'll be interesting to see. That could be a late cover. Who knows? You know, those high spreads, you never know. You know.
Do you know who Arkansas's quarterback? What do you know about that guy? Because his rating is good. He has progressively gotten better every year, and in his first 2 games this year, he has graded out very well. I've never heard of him though.
Yeah. So that is, I don't know him.
Green, right?
I don't
Kalen
know him.
Green?
Yeah, I don't
Me
know
neither.
him. I don't. I'll be honest with you. I haven't even seen Arkansas is one of the teams that I have not seen play this year. I'll be honest with you. I have not. And I haven't even seen UAB play this year either. Those are not 2 teams that are usually on my radar.
Fair.
Just because
they're not on anybody's radar.
Yeah, not really. Not unless you live in Arkansas. Or I'm sorry, yeah, Arkansas basically, or maybe even Alabama. I guess kind of encroaching there a little bit. But Arkansas was beating. You know, I thought they definitely were up 17 or 14 on Oklahoma State. It looked like Arkansas is actually not going to be as bad as some people thought, and then Oklahoma State came all the way back and beat them late. Okay.
In overtime too.
Yeah, so
Arkansas kind of dominated them in the first half. Completely dominated them.
Yep. And here's another thing against the spread. Sam Pittman's in his 5th year. He's 5-9 against the spread as a home favorite. So there's two things that are against Arkansas on this. A couple. Phil Steele is completely against me. A couple other people are against me in terms of podcasts I listen to. I made this bet earlier in the week, and I went with it. Here I am. So, but Taylor Green might be somebody to watch here. 6'6", big kid.
That is when I'm intrigued when I saw that. And when a guy gets better every year too, I'm like, okay, do we have something here?
Yeah, a big kid. So we'll see. I mean, Arkansas, you know, they're kind of bottom feeder of the SEC, especially this year with all those teams being added. So we'll see. Next one has got UCF TCU. I think this is going to be more of a good game to watch. I added it in because I was like, man, this is the first time ever meeting. Right, UCF is his 2nd year of Big 12. TCU obviously coming off had a kind of a down year last year when they lost to Colorado. They never really rebounded very well. I feel like this could be a good bounce back year for them, especially after making the playoff a couple years ago. Nonetheless, they're at home, first time meeting, a lot in the air. They do return 9 starters on defense. Sonny Dykes been there for a little bit now. He said it's the best defense he ever had. They made the playoff a couple years ago. He says the best defense he's ever had. If you go and look, I'm going to flip real quick on you. If you go and look at UCF's grades, now they haven't played anybody really. They played New Hampshire week 1, and then they had Sam Houston State, who was a very bad team last year. But I do see some rebound for Sam Houston State this year. They were an FCS team 3 years ago. Very good one, by the way. But 3 years ago, they were an FCS team. So my point is UCF's schedule is a little bit easy. TCU, they did have Stanford early on week 1, right? So they do have a game that's a little bit tough. It was on the road at Stanford. I don't know if you want to call that a road game. They don't have anybody in their stands. But my point is, both these teams have a good D. Yes, I know UCF has put up a lot of points in their games. KJ Jefferson, some people have what do they call it? It's kind of an underdog sleeper pick for Heisman. I would not pick that, but I know because he's a 5th-year senior and he started a long time in college football. But first meeting, both have good D-lines. TCU says their best defense he's ever had, Sonny Dykes. I'm going to go with the under here because the under's effing high.
Yes.
It's 62.
Dude, awesome. Well, that's the only bet I was going to take too.
Okay.
Yes, and I had no idea. We didn't talk about this, so I had no idea what direction you were going to go. But I was like, everything I've looked at, I just want to take the under in this game because I think it's going to be an awesome game. But all I like is the under.
That's the only thing I liked as well.
And because UCF did their maybe it's because they played cake opponents. They run 66% of the time.
RJ Harvey will be an NFL back. He will be.
Okay.
He graded out well last year. He's grading out already good this year. He's a good back. He's a 5-star, 4-star recruit, high recruit, highly touted. I hate with running backs in the NFL draft. It's pointless. It doesn't matter. I mean, the dude who was the highest running back, he's not even playing. Jonathan Brooks, right?
Yeah.
Not even playing.
Yeah.
We don't even really know why. I'm on my fantasy team. We don't know why he's not playing. He was injured.
Same with the second running back that was taken. And third. Nothing. Trey Benson and Blake Corum. Nada.
Okay. Bijan Robinson, kind of injured last year, lied about it. I don't know. Jonathan Brooks was also a Texas running back. But anyway, my point is I'm not going to predict RJ Harvey's draft. He'll be drafted. He'll be in the NFL. I just don't know in what capacity. But 90% of the tickets and 82% of the cash are on the under at 62.5. So, I mean, I just think that's a lot, especially for first time ever meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think maybe the only fear is like KJ Jefferson going crazy and breaking off some big runs. Otherwise, this clock should be moving. If you get a team that's that heavy running, I love it. And all you need is a couple long drives, a couple field goals.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I was at that. I'm going to say, where is it at here at 62.5? Yes. So some overs getting taken. I just don't, you know where I stand. I already said it. I got a couple sad snippets here just based off of the weekend. It's going to be a weird weekend. I'm telling you right now. Last weekend, I think we got a little lucky because I thought there were weak games. Week 1, we got real lucky with a lot of good rando games. Anyway, the best game of the weekend, I'm assuming, is going to be WU at Pitt. It always is a great game. It's always really close. Home field does not matter. I heard this today, they set an attendance record for the stadium for the last time this was played at Pitt, which was 2 years ago. I don't know if you remember it. It was an absolute insanity game. What was it? West Virginia was going to win, and they turned the ball over on their own 20 and then to lose. 37-34 or whatever. Sorry, I don't have the page up right now. My point is the game is very close. It's always back and forth. It's almost a 50-50. The spread has gone down. People are taking Pitt. It's back down to 2. Recently, I would probably shade towards the over. I did not take the bet. This is a live bet game just due to the dogfight that it is. My point is there's a fuck ton of West Virginians that go to this game. Morgantown's only an hour away. It's at noon. I think I didn't even look. I wish the guy would have said it. I'm assuming it's Brad Paisley, a guy from West Virginia, is performing in Pitt that day before the game. So it is just going to be nuts. So I highly recommend watching if you're looking for something good to watch. But as the bias pick of the show, I do have West Virginia minus 2.5. But so many signals do point towards Pitt. And
they do.
I made a lot of notes towards them, and I hate them. Just a couple. If you look at just the grades of PFF, everything just points at Pitt. Everything favors them. And just if you're looking at the total, just kind of keeping notes. A lot of people are taking the over. The total has never even been close to what it's sitting at right now. I think it's even higher than 60.5. That's what I have as my notes. I think it's even higher than that at this point. Sorry, I guess I could bring it up on this, but yeah.
I'm trying to get there now. To help
there we go. 62. It has never been that close ever in the game's history, and both of these teams used to be in the Big East. Take that as you will, but yeah.
The over under?
Yes.
Really?
Never in its history been close to 62.5.
It's always under.
I'm talking set the line, the Vegas line set. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Yep, that's all I'm saying. Just the Vegas line being set. It's never been that high. But that doesn't mean a whole lot. I don't go off that a ton, but it is a little alarming when you see something like that. You know what I mean? Because you're not used to lines being that high, especially for a series as a rivalry such as this.
Yeah, right. When they're familiar with each other,
exactly.
It's tough to hit the over.
The highest total recorded that I have on my number here is 53.5, set by Vegas.
Dang, really? Here's my only concern with West Virginia is that quarterback, Garrett Green.
He is their best player.
Yeah, but he's looked better. He's looked better than he has this year.
Yes.
So is it that he just had 2 bad games and he needs to get up to speed? That's my only concern with West Virginia, man. He was so good last year. He overperformed so well, and this year he's just not been very good.
Yeah, and we had week 1 versus Penn State. Obviously, they kind of got beat up, but also they couldn't even fucking snap the ball.
Yeah, that's true. They looked disastrous.
Couldn't even snap the ball. It's going to be a good game. I think I'm not going to say there's a bad bet. I'm not going to say there's a good bet because it's just a rivalry game. You kind of throw shit out the window. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I like the live bet angle.
Yep.
I like the live bet angle. Although West Virginia's offensive line, oof.
So just to recap, UAB plus 24.5. That's the best bet. We'll do UCF also. The under 62 is the best bet. West Virginia definitely is not. I wanted to rebound with this one. Alabama at Wisconsin. Alabama minus 16. Obviously, what a great barn burner that ended up being there. It was dirty football, and it was sloppy, but it ended up being really close. South Florida almost pulled off the upset. They had every reason to do it. They just didn't. And then Alabama almost covered, which is insane. I mean, they kind of started to get close. 4 points away, depending on what you got, 4-ish points away. DeBoer had his first loss.
Like the last 6 minutes of that game.
Yep.
Alabama scored like 4 touchdowns in the last 6 minutes.
You
One
nailed
possession game, and then they almost covered. Crazy.
Nuts. Yep. I am banking on a DeBoer rebound having his first regular season all-time non-conference loss against the spread. 13-0 regular season. I'm banking on a rebound at 13-1 that he covers at minus 16. Don't got a lot. This is a bet on DeBoer. This is a bet on a rebound. Van Dyke, funny enough, 2 years ago was Phil Steele's top 5 quarterbacks to be drafted. He was formerly at Miami last year. He's a tall kid. He can sling a little bit. Not good. Not good now. They don't move the football. Really? He does. I think he only has 1 touchdown or no touchdowns on the season for Wisconsin. This is, I think Fickle's still trying to rebuild that program there. The NIL, so they've had a lot of transfers in, so they're still trying to figure it out. They're not very good. 16, I thought, was a little bit low number. I liked it. DeBoer covers. That's a good feel. I was against it, but now I'm for it. Jalen, as long as you don't pressure Jalen Milroe, he's sick. If you blitz the shit out of him, he sucks. Can't throw. So that
yes.
It's a play on DeBoer having a good rebound.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing I'll add to this one, because you mentioned Luke Fickle coming over from Cincinnati a couple years ago, right?
Yep.
So Wisconsin. The only thing, Wisconsin, you're in the Big Ten. You play North. You play in cold weather. Wisconsin historically has always put NFL offensive linemen in the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
Just book it. Luke Fickle comes in and makes this an air raid offense. They're going to fucking struggle for a couple of years.
Yes.
I hate the hire because of that. Not because I don't like Luke Fickle, but you take a guy that wants to run an air raid in the north part of the country where it's cold in the Big Ten where it's just big boys.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm glad you're on Bama just because I wanted to make a bet on this game and I wasn't sure. But as you were talking, I'm like, that's kind of my problem with Wisconsin. That's not their style of football that they're trying to play, and they're not going to be able to do that.
I mean, we can go through all the running backs you can go with Wisconsin, right, of the years.
That too.
Ron Dane,
yep.
And then just stop. Yep. Okay. Nonetheless, but I'm going with DeBoer here. All right, I'll wrap it up here because I know you got some best bets here and stuff like that to wrap up the show. This is definitely a best bet. This is probably my bestest bet of the show. There's not really much to gain here, but FSU preseason, I think this was a 17-point spread. You said look-ahead spread. FSU was at 17 for this game for Memphis. It has dropped all the way down to, I think it's been bet back up. I've been seeing it creep up to 6.5, even a 7. I don't know. I guess I could type it in here. I don't know where it's at now. Nonetheless, Memphis is at Florida State for this weekend.
6.5.
It's at 6.5. I see it. I got it at 5.5. I do like it a lot. This is Norvell's old team. That doesn't really mean much. But they do come to Florida State off a bye week, which is huge in college football, especially for a team that has lost their identity. But they're at home. It's a noon game. I just see Norvell's annoying me. So you would think I'd go against them. But Memphis is a good team this year, too. They'll battle in their conference. It's going to be a hash out, but we'll see what shakes out. But Florida State is not that bad is the point I'm trying to make. Right.
Yeah, here's the interesting part. Memphis is 2-0 ATS. Florida State 0-2 ATS.
Yeah.
I only say that because sometimes when it's like, hey, we have to come back to positive regression.
Yes, you do.
Right? So Memphis has obviously been upgraded the last 2 weeks, and FSU's been hugely downgraded,
100%.
rightly so. But anyways, Memphis ain't going 12-0 versus the spread. So
no.
Yeah.
Correct. So that's why I see, and these two teams obviously haven't met, and you can't, and there's no really trends to go off of either, right? So I don't really focus on that. So yeah, I just like FSU. The cash and tickets. Sorry, they're right in the middle. It's almost 50% on both sides because the public's going to hate Florida State because they suck so far, right? But the pros are going to like them because the spread's too low. They're not that bad, man. Off a bye week, it's a good bet.
You got a great number too.
I did. Although at the same token, anything between 4 and 7, kind of in limbo. Doesn't really matter.
I disagree. I mean, 4 is a key number, 6 is a key number, and 7 is a key number.
Can
so
be.
If you got it at 5.5, that's.
I did.
I mean, you beat this. Even though it's 6.5 now, 6 is a key number. So
I knew it would jump just due to pros or like Florida State's not this bad.
Nah, yeah, yep.
Right, we're gonna take the risk. 0-3, Norvell's on the hot seat. I mean, it's 2 home games and a neutral site, and he's lost all 3. That's a hot seat, bub.
It's gonna be bad.
And it's 2 conference games out of 3. Let's move on. What you got with NFL? I know you got some injury news and some best bets.
Oh yeah, so we'll do first quick hitter here. I already covered the Lions and the Bucks because we were talking about the survivor pool. I didn't know we'd go that deep, but just to kind of rehash, Bucks have 3 defensive backs out. That's called a cluster injury. That is why we like the Lions for the survivor pick, and they are part of one of my best bets, which I will get to in just a second. The other injury news, Rams-Cardinals, and I brought this up because that line is Rams +1, and I'm like, what's going on here? I watched that game last week. Matthew Stafford balled out. That guy is so good. Yeah. I was impressed with their rookies too, because I mentioned that on last week's podcast. Like I like the Lions and their offensive line, and they're going against rookies. I know they were drafted high, but those rookies last week, they were tough as hell. I think they just wore out by overtime. So when I saw that line at +1, I'm like, what's going on here? I know we're at the Cardinals, but that's not that big of a home field advantage. It's just not. The Rams have 2 starting offensive linemen guaranteed out. Guaranteed. Right side of the line, guard and tackle out. They're good too. 2 other guys are questionable in the offensive line. So we're looking at cluster injuries. So that's why I don't have a bet on the side, even though I love the Rams. I'm just like, I don't know. Offensive line is such a key position. I think that Stafford can bail them out, though, which is a perfect segue to, let's start with my first best bet. First best bet, teaser, Rams, Ravens. So taking the Rams up to 7, buying the Ravens down to 2, or not buying, but teasing them down to 2. So okay. I like those 2 teams together. I know I obviously just mentioned the Rams and their clusters or injuries on the offensive line. I don't think the Cardinals, we both like them because they're nitty gritty. I don't think that's a runaway team. I don't, and I think Matthew Stafford, he's just such a grinder. I love that, man. +7, you give me 7 with the Rams, I'm in. I'm going to pair it with the Ravens.
Man, Havenstein, their best lineman, comes back for the Rams.
Comes back for the Rams.
He comes back. He's off the injury report as of today. Yep.
Interesting.
Havenstein. He was out last week. Yep.
He was?
Yep.
Okay, so it's Noteboom that's out. Okay, anyway, so that's good. So that supports the bet even further because he was one of those questionable guys. He was questionable to play this week.
He was out last week. Havenstein was. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so that's the first one. Rams, Ravens teaser. Going back to that Lions game that I mentioned.
Yep.
I am giving the people 2 teasers this week.
Oh, teaser guy. Okay.
I know this is probably super Joe-ish of me, but I love the tease lines this week, man. I love them. So my second teaser leg, I'm going to pair the Lions with the Broncos. Lions, we get them from 7.5 down to 1.5. I've already talked about Tampa Bay. I don't think they can stop the Lions.
Okay.
I'm not like, this isn't a bet against the Bucs. I just don't think
they can stop because of all those defensive back injuries. Pairing them with the Broncos, the reason that is you get the Broncos up to 8.5. Bo Nix looked like shit. Advantage teaser, though, you want to move the 3 and the 7. Okay, so 2.5, we move them up to 8.5. The total on this game is also like 37 or something. Do you have that pulled up there? No, that's all right. Anyways, when you get a really low total, that's going to play to the underdog. When you get points, when you can buy it up to that many points where you get 8.5 points with such a low total. And the Steelers are also a team I do not see running away. It's at Denver. This is the biggest home field advantage in the NFL early in the season because of altitude. Week 16, I don't care as much because guys are in shape. We've been playing.
Yeah.
But early in the season, they've got to come to altitude. So I don't think the Steelers run away because I think they gas out at the end. So those are my first two. Third one is we're going to be a little bit normal here. Very Joe-ish again. I'm taking the Jets minus 3.5 on the road at the Titans.
Got it.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, I thought he looked great last week. Jets got beat up by, I think, the best team in the NFC. I'm not going to overreact and say the Jets defense sucks because they got bullied around, but I'm not going to do that, man. So I'm backing Aaron Rodgers and the Jets on the road, minus 3.5 versus the hapless Will fucking Levis.
That's a bet against Levis. That's what that is.
Yes.
I think it's a good rebound actually pick for the Jets. That's I'm not gonna say must win. Every freaking game in the NFL is a must win, but it's a win to say okay, we're fine. We're not a bad team, and you're right. Aaron Rodgers actually played better than his stats showed in a general sense. Yep. Right.
That's what I thought. So those are my only three. Those are my only three best bets.
Yeah. Anytime, I like the Denver Broncos pick a lot because anytime that you have an underdog that you're going to tease up, but the total is low, as you mentioned, it was 36.5 here on the lines we're seeing here. Looks like one book has it at 37.5. Wow, jump on that. But anytime it's a low total as such, you obviously want the underdog, right?
Yep.
And if at 8.5, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So that's a decent bit. It's so funny they just changed the wind. I just saw that for the Bengals game.
What is it at now?
It's at 9.9 miles per hour because that weather's just coming in. I was gonna try to bring up that Steelers look here while I was just saying, but I actually like that. That's probably my favorite one was the Denver Broncos one.
For the teaser legs?
Yeah, teaser legs, especially, if you would see a little bit rebound there from, the Broncos, I think a little bit. They still have Sean Payton, right? You would expect him to at least not be a bum, but maybe he is.
Totally. And I am a teaser guy, to be fair. I do love 2-game teasers.
Yeah,
Big fan. If I can find the right, obviously, you want when I talk about advantage teasers, through the 3 and the 7.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, we've taken up plenty of people's time. So,
where are you at? At least repeat your best bets.
Yeah, best bets. Obviously, definitely the college ones, right? You got the UAB at Arkansas, UAB plus 24.5. UCF, right, at TCU, under 62, I believe is what I got it at. Under 62. And then bestest bet, right, would be my third one here, is the FSU minus 5.5. Right, and then the Bengals at Chiefs, under 48. Under 48. Have 4 again coming up this week.
Oh, you are doing 4 again.
I am. I'm not scared.
Nice.
I come in hot. I come in strong. Yeah, under 48. That's it. Yep.
Nice.
Yeah. You got yours locked in?
Those are the 3 I was prepared to give away, man.
Okay.
Yep. I mean, I talked about some other bets I made, but as far as my favorites.
Okay, as always, you can find us on, we got our action here on the video, our tags that you want to follow us at. You can find us on the app, Catcher for Baseball there for mine, and then Alex_Meish for his. Give us a follow. That way you don't have to listen to this entire podcast again to get our picks. So, all right, we'll catch y'all next time. See you.